To us, going to church was weddings, funerals, that type of thing. And I grew up primarily with Jewish friends. And so when we all turned 13, I went to about 25 bar mitzvahs and bas mitzvahs and thought, what a great party this is, you know? And my few Catholic friends would often talk about Jesus. So I thought God belonged to the other people, and Jesus belonged to the Catholics, and the Jewish people had great parties. So that's my background. I used to like to drive around a lot. I still do. I'm sure a lot of you do also, just to check out areas and stuff like that. And I was driving around the circle one day, and that's when it used to go all the way around, and it was just a nice area. So one day when I was driving around, I was just struck all of a sudden, and it was just so overwhelming. I actually felt a hand on my shoulder, on my right shoulder, and it had weight to it, which you can imagine was just very frightening to me, because I immediately looked in my rearview mirror thinking somebody was in the car with me. And there was nobody there, but I still felt the weight on my shoulder, and I just became very emotional and cried, and I had to pull over, but I realized that it was something else. It was something so much greater than myself. And I drove around the circle again and looked at the marquee out front and saw what time church service was and came here. That was in 1990. And at the time, Reverend Richard Wiggins was our pastor, and Marie Bassano Lucas was our secretary. So coming into this building, which I just absolutely loved, it's beautiful and it's simple. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand the terminology. I didn't know what a doxology was, you know, is this something you bought? You know, it was all very new to me, but the experience was just absolutely wonderful. And I immediately just joined in and started serving and helped the Wiggins with the auctions we used to have back then, and taking over for Lucille Cunahan on the executive board as the clerk, and just singing in the choir, Crop Walk for Hunger, and I just joined and just felt the love here was just absolutely marvelous. And my second greatest day was, I had never been baptized before. So I spoke to Reverend Wiggins about this, and he seemed to be extremely excited about it. So I cherish this. I keep this certificate with my most important documents. And so it is safely put away with my birth certificate, you know, your social security card, the titles to the things you own. And this is right up front as the most important. So when I spoke to Richard about doing this, he indicated that he thought that I was probably the first adult to have been baptized here. So that in itself, too, is very exciting to me. And my mom came from out of state. So May Wiggins and my mom both escorted me up to the front where the font was. And as Richard started speaking, and when he sprinkled the water on me, the transition was just absolutely amazing. I felt all of the water running down, and it just started tingling, and it was an extreme, deep sensation. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember anything else he said after that point. You know, the only thing I knew was something different was happening inside of me. Everything was changing. And I knew that my life would just never, ever be the same after that. And a friend of mine surprised me that day by singing a song called Live for Jesus. And the main chorus of that song, the main chorus, says, live for Jesus, that's what matters. when other houses crumble, mine is strong. So I've tried to keep that in my heart and just try to live for that. And I've often had, friends tell me, why do you do all of this stuff? Why do you be in this committee and that committee and just join and spending your time? Well, the answer is just very simple. It's very simple really for all of us. If you love your church, you serve. And if you love God, you serve.
Amen.
Thank you for your time.